That's the other thing everyone will have to remember. Okay, it's 6:30. We'll call our meeting to order. First is our special meeting for budget. So we need a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda. Motion 02146.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move that the agenda be adopted as presented.
I'll second it.
Questions on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, nay. Motion carried. Is there anyone with a conflict of interest in the agenda? If not, we'll start with a brief presentation. Lillian, please, of the
Yes,
highlights of our budget.
Thank you. Our general operating budget this year for 2021 for general government, it was $958,497 for a decrease of $86,609,000. Protective is $1,096,342 for a decrease of $8,860. Transportation was $820,300 for a decrease of $172,900. Environmental health was $194,700 for a decrease of $1,300. Public health, environmental department was $679,562 for an increase of $6,858. Recreation for $447,066 for a decrease of $88,024. The fiscal was $385,016 for a decrease of $170,170. The total budget was $4,581,483 for a reduced for $524,500. Non-tax revenue was $175,477 for an increase of $19,197. Community funding and equalization grant was $345,829 for an increase of $173. Revenue to be raised by warrant is $4,060,177 for a reduced for $543,375. Our taxes, central is $1.2225 per 100 of an assessment. The fringe is $1.0050 per 100 of assessment. The tax rate stayed the same this year. Utility budget for 2021. Environmental health, $70,996. Fiscal, $79. Total budget, $71,075. Revenue from own source and other source, $23,075. Net budget to be raised by user charges, $48,000. Average annual cost per household, the water and sewage utility stays the same per household, and that's $500. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lillian. Okay, we'll move on to motion 02147. I need a mover and a seconder, please.
Okay, 147 moves that the Council of Local Government of Beldoon resolves that the sum of $4,581,483 be the total of 2020 general operating fund budget of a local government, that the sum of $4,060,177 to be warrant of the local government for the ensuing year of the local tax rate for a local government of 1.22225 central and 1.00050 fringe.
I'll second.
Second by Tracy. Questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Nick?
thank you, and thank you, Councillor Carmichael, for that report and all your hard work in putting the budget together. And in a year when putting a budget together was probably as challenging as any that I've ever been part of, looking at about a $500 reduction in tax revenue, I'm pleased to be able to see that we've actually not cut into the growth sector of our budget. As a matter of fact, we've expanded the growth sector, and so I think because of that, I can say that this is probably a successful budget. And I'd also like to add that I would highly recommend that when the new council takes their seats next spring, that in the event that it might not be the same mayor, that either the mayor or the senior staff make sure that they have as a priority to introduce the new members of council to the realities of what the budget is, as opposed to waiting to the time when the next budget has to be prepared, because there are certainly some items in that budget that are going to be that warrant some consideration as far as their future direction goes. So I hope that becomes a priority of the leadership and the staff of the next council.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Anyone else? Paul?
I'll just reiterate what Councillor Divenborn said about the work that Councillor Carmichael did. I thought was really good, and I thought everyone's contributions were very helpful. I thought it was, I thought it was very well done, and I thought that we met a lot of the goals that we needed to meet. So in a year when putting together a budget was particularly, I'm not going to say hard, but it was demanded a lot of input. I think we received that, and I think it was well done, and I'm happy, certainly happy with it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Anyone else?
I just want to thank everybody. We worked as a team, and the staff was right there when we had questions. So I want to thank everybody on council and the staff for working so well together and getting this budget done.
Okay, thank you. Okay, no other questions? Well, Sandon, go ahead.
So I'll start off on that high note. Everybody got together and worked together, I would say, admirably given the situation, COVID. Learned how to speak with masks, which is not the easiest thing in the world. Still feels unnatural, but hopefully it becomes a little bit more natural. I think I had more trepidation about this budget than anybody else on the council, and I still do. Those concerns have not been belayed by this process. We managed to trim enough fat to make the budget work this year, but knowing that ongoing reductions in that tax base from Glencore and the smelter are going to be there next year is a reality. We haven't strategically cut or enhanced any place that's going to make a long-term impact on this budget. I went back and went into my notes from our first retreat once we became councillors with Jack Novak. I wanted to say Mel Knight, but Jack Novak, and where he told us what our role was, and I took out the note and I wrote it down, and it is to provide strategic direction and guidance and leadership for a community. And the big thing there was leadership and strategic direction. And that's what I took out of it. And I think everyone sitting around this table has, especially in the beginning, gave that mantra their all. This is our last budget. This is the last big thing we're going to do. So I want to congratulate everybody for the investment in this school. It was a strategic investment in the future of this community, and we took some heat from it. and I want to congratulate everybody for sticking by the decision. I want to congratulate CAO Lee on coming in and doing an admirable job on working, and the rest of the staff in trying to shift towards a mentality shift of positive momentum. But this is not a budget, in my opinion, that shows leadership. It was very, not to say there wasn't really good work and intention that went into it, but it's a kick along. It's a kick the can down the road. And we don't have that many years left that we can just kick the can down the road. So I don't want this to come across as a slight or an impugnment of the work or motivations of anybody around this table, because echoing what everybody else said, I think they put their honest effort into it and they drove it. I just fundamentally disagree with the direction. So I'll be casting a nay vote on tonight's budget with the full expectation that it's still going to pass. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Sandon. Okay, anyone else? No? On the motion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, nay? One nay, motion carried. Okay, next is motion 02148. A mover and a seconder, please.
It's Lillian. I move that the Council of Local Government of Beldoon resolves that pursuant that paragraph 177-4 of the Local Government Act, the total 2021 water, wastewater, utility operating fund budget for the ensuing year would consist of total revenue of $71,075 and a total expenditure of $71,075.
I'll second.
Questions? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, nay. Motion carried. Okay, just before I get to the next motion, I do want to say thank you to all the council. This budget wasn't all that easy, but we certainly put our heads together and worked very hard to get it done. We do have it done. There's no, we haven't raised taxes, and you know, we will, and I agree with both what some of the stuff Sandon said and Nick as well, that I think a closer eye has to be kept up during the year and all the time on the budget next year. So that, you know, that's going to be something hard to do, but this was a job well done. So thank you to all the staff and council for their hard work and the hours that both Landon and Brenda put in to bring the numbers in line with what we needed. So thank you, everyone. Okay, next we need motion 02149.
Mayor, that the meeting be adjourned at 6:45, or, yeah, 6:45.
I'll second it.
On the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, nay. Motion carried. Meeting is adjourned. Okay, we'll move on to our next Committee of Whole Council meeting. So I will call the meeting to order at 6:45 p.m. And I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you for being here. First is to adopt the agenda. Prior to adopting the agenda, there's a couple items I would like to add to the agenda. And one would be the Jagged River Health Center, and two would be the COVID testing and how that came about. I've had some questions on that. So I add both of those items. Does anyone else have any additions or deletions to the agenda?
I have an addition. I'd like to bring up the, talk a little bit about the Thanksgiving dinner that we had in, by the event committee.
Okay. We'll add that.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move that the agenda be adopted as amended.
I'll second it.
Questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, nay. Motion carried. Okay, I'll start out with the Jacket River Health Center. I've had some calls and some people asking, and I guess it was, circulated on Facebook and in our bulletin, but I guess not everyone's seen it. So with the Jacket River Health Center, I would like to say that there are 2 new doctors for the clinic. Dr. Gione has started on October the 21st. She'll be there 2 days a week, Wednesdays and Thursdays. She will not be taking patients, but will see people without a doctor or a nurse practitioner that need prescriptions refilled or have emergencies or that need to see a doctor and don't have one of their own. So that's the first one. There will be another doctor starting that will be there 3 days a week and will take patients, but those patients will be taken from the 811 list. The exact start date has not been determined yet. They're still working on that, but it will be sometime within the near future. We are hoping that before the end of November. So that's being worked on for sure. So and also I would like to say a thank you to all those involved with Vitality and ever with making this happen, and especially a recruiter by the name of Judy Butler. Judy and I had many conversations over the past year, and it was really nice to see after all the work that was done, this thing happen. Because now we'll actually have more doctor hours and more doctor time at the clinic than we had previously. So it's a real move up for our clinic, and everyone at the clinic is very excited about what's taking place. So that's a good thing for the village, and we have to keep supporting our doctors and our clinic. So that's what I'm saying. I'm sure there's no one on council here that doesn't think that either. Everyone here is happy to be able to support that clinic and get the doctors in here. So that's for that one.
Mayor Lau, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got a couple of calls right after this. I don't know if the situations have been remedied with these people or not, but I got this twice, and maybe you can help. There were some who called 811 last year, I believe, or previous to the announcement, and left their name with 811, with the understanding that if something came up, their names, they would be on the list. Then after the announcement, they called 811, but couldn't get, they couldn't get some reinforcement that although they had called before the announcement, that they would be in line. In other words, they weren't sure, or they weren't told in any positive way that, or any formal way that yes, they had called previously, put their name there, therefore their names would come up. So it had been saved. So and they couldn't find a way to verify it. That's what I'm looking for, to verify it. So I did call the clinic to see if there was something, and they said there was a 211 number. I don't know if that's even exists, because when I called it, I couldn't, just a ringtone, there was no answer. So anyway, just if those people in that situation, what would they do, or what should they do?
Okay, what they can do is go online, go to 811. It's NB, My Health NB, I think, or Health NB. It's on the website. They can't look up their name, but they can go in and put all the information in there, and it'll be there. But what I am told is anyone who's registered previously will stay on that list until they either find a nurse practitioner or a doctor. So if it was someone that had a doctor and lost their doctor, they were registered, they can go in on the 811, but you can't call now because they're using that for the COVID line. So that eliminates the call. They can do it on the website, yeah. I went in and I did it just because I had some people ask me, so I thought I'll just go through the whole seconds, but I can get that, and maybe what we'll do is put it in our bulletin for next month. But if I have it at home, I don't have it on this phone, I got it on my other computer.
If you
But
go on
can
the
you-
811, it gives you the direction to where to go.
Yeah,
It
where to
gives you
go.
the site to get where to go, because I've called it
Yeah.
for somebody.
It's My Health NB, and just put that into Google and it'll log in. It's the same
yeah.
one that anybody who went for the testing on Friday, it's the same site. You register your information.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on that? If not, we're gonna move on to the COVID testing. And I had some people ask me how that came about and what took place. So I guess I'll go back to the 22nd of October, really, or the 23rd of October, because on the 23rd of October, after it was announced on the 22nd that we were going to the Orange Fanes as of midnight on the 23rd, about noontime on the 23rd, I got a call from the Minister of Health's office telling me that Dr. Russell and her team were going to be in the area and wanted to meet with the mayors. I requested that we have the meeting in Baldoon and that all of council be present. The Department of Health agreed, and a meeting was set up for council in council chambers, and as well as all of council, Minister Shepherd attended by phone, Dr. Russell, Deputy Minister Richard, and Assistant Deputy Minister Liston attended in person. The meeting lasted for probably a little over 2 hours, and then we had another half hour or so chatting after the meeting, so it was a very good meeting. We had all the council's concerns were listened to. The subject of testing was discussed, and council asked for testing to be done in Baldoon for our citizens, as many did not want to travel to Campbellton or Dalhousie because of the number of cases they had there. So on Tuesday the 27th at about noon, I received a call from the Deputy Minister Gerard Richard that testing would be done at the Jacket River Clinic. So at that time I did send an email out to all the council saying that that's what was going to happen. But about an hour and a half later, I received another call from Vitality Health, the employees, and said that the clinic wouldn't be suitable for a testing site, and they wanted to know what we had in the village that we could offer. We had told Dr. Russell that, we had the gymnasium here and we had the rec center, so if something was needed, that would be made available to them. So on Wednesday the 28th, actually the Deputy Minister did call me back and apologize. He thought that the clinic had already been all set up and ready to go, then he found that it wasn't, so he apologized for that, but that was okay. So then Landon and myself met with 4 employees from Vitality, and we looked at both this building and the rec center, and they determined that the rec center would work best because there were no other people in the building, and after the testing was done, it could be shut down, sterilized, and locked overnight, so there was no one that was going to be going in or out. So then on Thursday and Friday morning, especially Thursday, all day Thursday, and for a little bit Friday morning, Vitality staff, along with the village staff, prepared the rec center for testing. There was a lot of work that had to be done, and our employees as well as Vitality did a lot of wonderful work there, and everyone just chipped in and everything got done. So testing started at 9 o'clock and went until 5. The testing went very well, and there were 259 people tested with no positive results. So now we should be going toward being back in the yellow phase before too long, if we can keep this up. So I say to everyone, keep up the good work, and we will go and get back in the yellow and have a little more freedom, but we got to keep this virus under control. So with that, I would like to say a thank you to the village staff, as well as Vitality staff, for their work to allow this testing to be done. I'm sure it's appreciated by all of council as well as the citizens of Baldoon, and thank you everyone, because without everyone's pitch in, it wouldn't get done. So thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, you're to be commended for your efforts, for sure. And I guess if there was one thing that maybe I had a little concern with, was that there was circulation on Facebook that all of the tests came back negative, when some people who actually were tested were still waiting for the results. So it sent some mixed messages, and I know some of those negatives just came in. I can attest that they just came in late this afternoon as negative. So there was a little bit of I won't call it uneasiness, but it was a little bit of a cart before the horse, I think. But anyway, congratulations to yourself and to all other people involved in getting that done.
Okay, thank you, Nick. And I tell this to people all the time. You know, unless you get it directly from Vitality or directly from the government website, don't believe what you read on Facebook, because not everything that's there is accurate, and sometimes people do get misinformation. So one of the things I always say to everybody, look on the government website. As soon as they have that information that they know that it's good, they try and get it out so everyone gets to see it. And I know even yet today, there were still some people being called, and it was being put on their site that they were checking that they were negative. And I mean, they can't do it all at once. Everyone can't be there. I was I think one of the lucky ones. Mine was there by Saturday noontime. But I know some other people that just came today, and I know some people that got some calls today. So, you know, it's a huge task. I mean, and we have to be patient sometimes. I know we all want to know right away when we're being tested, and especially when there's cases going around. But you know, if we put our faith in the people that are doing that and doing that correctly, and we follow the rules, everything should come out okay. Thank you, Nick. Anyone else? Okay, if not, we'll move on. Lillian.
I'll start with the Thanksgiving dinner that the event committee that put together. They sold 91 tickets, which is not a bad number for the time we're in. They did an amazing job, and I want to thank you, all the event committee, plus all the volunteers that put so much work and effort to getting it done. So that's what I want to say on that. Any questions on that one? The other one is the gazebo on River Drive. I want just to remind maybe next year to clean it up a little wider. Some people has approached me that uses it, and apparently it's hard to get in because there's a lot of bushes and so on. So if next spring we could get that cleaned up a little wider. So just in case I'm not here next spring, just maybe take a note on that.
So can I just add something?
Thank you.
Just as a note to council, so that gazebo is actually situated on Ducks Unlimited property, and it's actually right on the cusp of the 30-meter buffer. So we actually had a nature group from Bathurst reach out that wanted to come up in the last few weeks. So we were able to get in touch with Ducks Unlimited. They were okay with us sort of clearing some of the brush to help with the viewpoint, but they didn't want like any trees removed or anything like that. So we can probably look into getting it done, but I know that already Public Works has kind of got, and then with the buffer, we have to involve the Department of Environment too. So, yeah, we'll look into it.
That's it for me.
Councillor Davenport.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And this is just as a follow-up to some of the discussions we had at the last EMO Fire Committee meeting, and it was to bring some recognition to firefighters who have extended periods of service. And I've had some discussions with the fire chief since, because this has been talked about for quite some time, but it's never gained any traction. So I've offered my help to the fire chief in getting this done. I don't exactly know what kind of measurements we're going to use yet, but probably in increments of 5 years, starting at 10. The clerk has advised me that there's probably funds available in the fire department budget to cover the cost of actually getting these plaques done. I expect this is going to take a little while to do it all, because it's going to take a fair bit of research, and hope that we don't miss too many people along the way. But a lot of these people are already no longer with us, but they should still be recognized for their contributions. I think it'll be first Old Jagged River, Old Beldoon, and then a combination of post-amalgamation. And I'd like to think that maybe I could have it done by the end of this year, but I see a fair bit of work in making sure that we get it right. But it will be done, and hopefully we'll have some plaques to hang on the wall out here that seems to be ready for plaques. And the lights are there, the wall is clean, but there's nothing hanging there, which reminds me that maybe all of the ones that are hanging on the walls of the old municipal building should make their way over, because this is where they belong now. So anyway, just an advisory, Mr. Mayor, and I'll keep you up to date as we make progress, and hopefully it will be progress.
Okay, thank you very much, Nick. Okay, anyone else have anything? If not, we need motion 02151. A mover and a seconder, please.
7:02?
I'll second it.
Questions? On the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Against, nay. Motion carried. Meeting is adjourned.